My savings account didn't just drop, it flatlined. 8 years of sacrifice, of saying no to myself over and over, reduced to a cold, clean $0. 0 on my banking app. 3 days earlier, I'd been at my dad's 60th birthday party. 3 days earlier, my dream home was finally in reach. And now, every cent, $140, $312. 67 was gone. The bank told me it had all been transferred out. Authorized by the co-owner of the account, my father. And as I stood later in my brother's brand new apartment, the one my money had paid for, listening to the cops read my father's rights in front of 45 stunned guests, I realized something. They thought I'd always stay quiet. They were wrong. If you've ever been the responsible one, the family ATM, the one they assume will just swallow the hurt and keep paying, this story is for you. Before we dive in, do me a favor. If you've ever felt taken for granted by your own family, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want more true stories where justice actually shows up. And tell me in the comments, are you the responsible one in your family? And where are you watching from? Alright, let me tell you how my father stole my future and how I took it back. I grew up in Denver, Colorado, in what strangers would have called a nice, stable, middle-class family. Inside the house, the motto was simple. Family comes first. It was in every lecture, every guilt-soaked phone call, every holiday toast. Family helps family. Those who have more share with those who have less. Blood is thicker than water. What they didn't say out loud was the fine print. Renee will always be the one who is more. Derek will always be the one who is helped. My little brother Derek was 4 years younger, and somewhere along the way, my parents decided he was the golden investment. The one with potential. Boys need more support, my mom would say. Derek just needs the right opportunities. Meanwhile, I was the easy one. The responsible child. Scholarships. Part-time jobs at 16. Straight A student. The kid who never asked for help. When I was 17, my dad sat me down at the kitchen table, slid a stack of bank papers toward me, and said in that calm banker voice of his, "I'm putting my name on your account, just in case something happens. This way, I can help you manage things if there's ever an emergency." I didn't question it. He was my dad. Why would I? For 15 years, that joint account sat there, quietly holding the future I was building and the trap he'd set. Here's who I became as an adult. Renee, 32 years old, data analyst at a tech company called Datasphere. Organized, precise, meticulous. I track my life in spreadsheets. I color code my budget. I save receipts like a dragon hoarding gold. And I give. A lot. I can't help it, it was programmed into me. Over 10 years, I sent my parents and brother over $87,000. $15,000 when the roof was leaking. $28,000 to cover Derek's college tuition gaps. $12,000 for mom's medical bills when insurance wasn't enough. $8,000 for Derek's real estate opportunity that couldn't fail. Another $24,000 for random emergencies. Car issues, surprise bills, holiday costs we just can't cover this year. I tracked every dollar in a spreadsheet, category, date, note. Not because I expected it back. Just because numbers made me feel safe. You know what I never got? Not a thank you card. Not a written note. Barely even a genuine thank you. What I got instead was, "You have a good job, Renee. You don't have kids to worry about. Family helps family." I wasn't a daughter. I was infrastructure. An ATM with a beating heart. Through all of that, I clung to one dream. A house. Nothing crazy. Just a modest home in the Denver suburbs with a wraparound porch, a little backyard garden, a living room big enough for game nights with friends. A place that was mine. I started saving at 24. Opened a separate high-yield savings account, set up automatic transfers, cut back on everything. Old Honda.
No Starbucks. No impulsive trips. No treat-yourself weekends.
My goal, $150,000 for a 20% down payment on $750,000 home. 8 years later, I was almost there. My balance, $140,312. 67. I'd already toured 3 houses. The third one?
Perfect.
Craftsman style. Hardwood floors. Backyard begging for flowers. Asking price, $735,000. I was going to put in an offer the week after my dad's 60th birthday party. I was so close I could taste the fresh paint and new keys. The party was held at my parents' place in Lakewood. 20 or so guests. Relatives, old neighbors, family friends who still thought we were the picture of stability. The food was catered. Decorations were tasteful. There was a big banner. Happy 60th, Richard. My father gave a speech about gratitude and legacy. My mom looked at him like he hung the moon. Derek stood there, too, introduced to everyone as the up-and-coming real estate investor, despite his last 3 deals crashing and burning. No one mentioned that I'd funded 2 of those disasters. I nursed a glass of wine in the corner, fielding the usual questions. So, Renee, any wedding bells soon? Still renting? No house yet. I smiled, said, working on it, and kept my dream quiet. It felt too fragile to share. But I noticed something. Dad and Derek kept huddling together, whispering,
Glancing at me.
looking away when I caught their eyes. At the very end of the night, Aunt Helen, my dad's older sister and the only one who ever truly saw me, pulled me aside. She squeezed my hand and said softly, Renee, sweetheart, you've given enough. Be careful. I laughed it off. Careful of what? She didn't answer, just looked at me with a sad, knowing expression. 3 days later, I understood. Tuesday morning, I was at my desk at Datasphere, reviewing quarterly reports, when I got an email notification titled, Transaction Confirmation, Mountain West Federal. I almost deleted it as spam, but the account number in the preview matched mine. My stomach dipped. I opened my banking app. Savings account. Balance. $0. 00. For 30 seconds, my brain just stalled, like a system crash. Then my pulse roared in my ears. My hands shook as I reloaded the app. Same result.
0.
8 years.
Gone.
I called the bank with shaking fingers. The rep's voice was professional, detached, as she said, Yes, ma'am. I can confirm a transfer of $140,312. 67 was processed yesterday to an external account. The transaction was authorized by the co-owner, Richard Chapman. My father, I whispered. Yes, ma'am. I did not approve this. I didn't sign anything. We show it was confirmed via electronic signature. Would you like a copy of the documentation? I hung up with the PDF in my inbox and my entire body buzzing like I'd mainlined electricity. The document showed my name, my signature. But I had never touched it. My father hadn't just emptied my account. He'd forged my identity to do it. I stepped out into the parking garage at work and called him. He picked up on the second ring, sounding almost bored. Renee, I was expecting your call. My throat tightened. You took the money.
Yes.
Derek was in trouble. His investment fell through. He owed the bank $120,000. They were going to foreclose. I had to help him. With my savings? With family money, he corrected. You'll be fine. You have a good job. You're smart. You'll earn it back. Derek doesn't have your advantages. In the background, I heard my mother. Tell her it's for the family. She'll understand. My father shifted into that cold, authoritative voice I grew up with. I raised you, fed you, paid for your life. This is what family does. We share. We sacrifice. I needed that money more than you did. Something inside me didn't break. It clicked. You forged my signature, I said, very quietly. On the electronic authorization. That's a crime, Dad. Silence. You're overreacting, he finally snapped. But I wasn't. And for the first time in my life, I decided I wasn't going to act like I was. That night, I called Marcus, an old college friend who'd become a financial fraud lawyer. I laid everything out. The joint account, the forged signature, the call with my father. He didn't sugarcoat it. Renee, this is serious. The joint status complicates things. But forging your identity for an authorization? That's fraud. That's identity theft. He asked about timelines. The bank's dispute policy. Turned out Mountain West had a 72-hour window to flag suspicious transactions. I had less than 48 hours left. He told me to preserve everything. Emails,
Logs.
screenshots, and to get the electronic signature examined. Thankfully, I knew someone. Carla, a digital forensics specialist at my company. I caught her early Wednesday. Her voice softened when she saw my face. What's wrong? I forwarded the bank email and asked if she could look at the metadata. Within an hour, she called me into her office. This signature wasn't generated from any of your devices, she said. IP address traces back to a residential address in Lakewood. Timestamp, 3:47 a.m.
M.
Monday. I wasn't awake at 3:47 a.m.
M. Monday.
But my parents were in Lakewood. Renee, she said gently, this is textbook identity theft. She gave me an official report. By that night, my coffee table looked like a crime board, my spreadsheet of $87,000 given to my family, printouts of my drain savings, Carla's forensic analysis. My phone showed 17 missed calls from my mother. When I finally picked up, her voice trembled dramatically. Renee, your father told me you're upset. Sweetheart, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. I cut in. Here's what's going to happen. Dad has 24 hours to return all of the money. Every dollar. If he doesn't, I file a police report for identity theft and bank fraud. Silence. Then, you can't do that to your own father. He forged my signature. He stole my identity. It's not stealing if it's family. You were going to waste it on a house when your brother needed it more. We raised you. How can you be so ungrateful? I'd heard that word all my life, ungrateful. It didn't work on me anymore. I'm not destroying this family, I said. I'm protecting myself. And I hung up. They didn't return the money. So Thursday morning at 9:15 a.m.
M.
I walked into the Denver Police Department and placed a folder in front of Detective Sarah Mitchell. She took it seriously. She opened an identity theft case, documented everything, and handed me an official report with a case number. Then she said something that chilled me. We ran your name. There's also a personal loan for $25,000 opened 6 months ago in your name.
Did you authorize that?
I hadn't. Multiple counts of identity theft. From my own father. The backlash started almost immediately. Voicemails from my mother. How could you do this? You're sending your father to prison. Texts from Derek. You're dead to me. You ruined everything. Relatives I hadn't heard from in years suddenly popping up. You need to think about what you're doing to your parents. One message stood apart, from Aunt Helen. I support you. Stay strong. I screenshotted that one and saved it. Then, on Saturday, my stomach dropped all over again. Derek made a Facebook event. Housewarming party, Highlands apartment pictures of a sleek, modern place with floor-to-ceiling windows and a killer view of downtown Denver. Caption. Come celebrate my new place. Can't wait to show you all what hard work and smart investing can achieve. Hard work and smart investing. Using my stolen savings. My parents were listed as co-hosts. 45 people RSVP'd yes. I looked up the building. Estimated value around $400,000. The down payment alone would have been at least $80,000. My father had told me he used the transfer to pay Derek's debt and fund a new beginning. They were literally throwing a party to celebrate my stolen future. I wasn't invited. Of course. But they had forgotten one thing. There were more players on the board now than just family guilt. 5 days after I filed the report, the bank's fraud department called. They confirmed everything. The IP address. The forged digital signature. The unauthorized nature of the transaction. They froze accounts. They promised restitution. They forwarded their findings to the police. I called Detective Mitchell to ask what came next. Next, we issue an arrest warrant. Do you have a preference on timing? I thought about it. Quiet arrest to home, or something else. Then I pictured that Facebook caption again. Can't wait to show you all what hard work and smart investing can achieve. If they wanted an audience for the lie, they could have an audience for the truth. Saturday, I said. At my brother's housewarming party. Quick pause here. If you were me, what would you pick? A. Quiet arrest, minimal drama. B. Full public exposure, right in the middle of the party. Drop A or B in the comments. I already made my choice. Back to the story. Saturday, June 15th. 6:12 p.m.
M.
Derek's Highlands apartment looked like a Pinterest board. Champagne. Catered food. Designer furniture. Congratulations balloons. 45 guests. My father held court in the living room, telling relatives. When Derek came to me with this opportunity, I knew I had to help him. That's what parents do. We invest in our children. My mother floated around, saying, "He's worked so hard. We're so proud." Not a single mention of whose savings had made it possible. Aunt Helen was there, watching everything with tight lips. At 6:52 p.m.
M.
She made her move. Loud enough for nearby guests to hear, she asked Derek casually, "So, sweetheart, how much did this place cost?" "About 400, he said, a little smug. "Got a good deal." "And where did you get the down payment?" "Last I heard, your other properties weren't thriving." A cluster of guests went silent. Derek shifted. "Family helped. You know how it is." She tilted her head. "Did Renee help?" His face drained of color.
No.
"This has nothing to do with Renee." "That's strange," Aunt Helen said, "because she mentioned a $140,000 transfer from her account." The room fell silent. My father tried to cut in. "Helen, that's enough. This is a party, not an interrogation." She turned to him, voice cool. "Richard, did you take Renee's savings without her consent?" "That's family business," he snapped. "None of your—"
The doorbell rang.
His face turned white. Derek opened the door. 2 uniformed officers stood outside. Behind them, Detective Mitchell. "We're looking for Richard Chapman." Conversations shattered into whispers. My mother rushed forward. "What is this?" "This is a private event." "Ma'am, please step aside." Detective Mitchell stepped in, badge raised. "Mr. Richard Chapman, you're under arrest for bank fraud, identity theft, and forgery under Colorado and federal statutes. You have the right to remain silent." "This is ridiculous," my father shouted, voice cracking. "My daughter is mentally unstable. She's making up stories." "Sir," she cut in, "we have digital forensic evidence showing an electronic signature forged from your home IP at 3:47 a.m.
M.
authorizing a transfer of $140,312 from your daughter's account. We also have documentation regarding a fraudulent $25,000 loan opened in her name." The click of the handcuffs echoed through the room. My mother crumpled. "Richard. Richard." Derek stood there, frozen, glass in hand, looking like someone had pulled the plug on his reality. As they marched my father through the crowd, Aunt Helen said quietly, "You should have returned the money, Richard. She gave you a chance." The door closed behind them. Someone whispered, "He stole from his own daughter?" Detective Mitchell stayed just long enough to explain, calmly, professionally, to the guests that Derek's apartment had been purchased with stolen funds. That his hard work and smart investing was financed by fraud. Derek's coworker set her glass down. "So this party is celebrating theft." Another guest muttered, "I'm not staying for this." Within 15 minutes, nearly half the guests were gone. I arrived at 7:45 p.m.
M.
The door was ajar. The music off. The air heavy. Balloons sagged. Half-filled champagne glasses sweated on the counters. Food sat untouched. My mother lurched to her feet as I walked in. "You did this," she screamed. "You destroyed our family." "I reported a crime," I said. "Your husband committed it." I laid my folder on the kitchen island and opened it for the family members still there. Uncle Thomas, Aunt Helen, a couple of cousins who hadn't fled yet. Bank statements. Forensic report. The spreadsheet showing 10 years of me quietly bailing them out. Uncle Thomas flipped through the pages, his face going from confused to furious. "Renee," he said hoarsely, "I had no idea. Your father told us you were making it up, that you were unstable." I shrugged. "He lied." Derek finally spoke. "Renee, you have to understand. Dad said you were okay with it. He told me you wanted to help." I turned to him. I was asleep when he forged my signature at 3:47 in the morning. I found out 3 days later, when my account hit zero. "You knew my money was involved. You knew, and you threw a party." He had no response to that. Guests trickled out until there were only 5 of us left. Me, Derek, my mother, Aunt Helen, and Uncle Thomas. The balloons drifted lazily above a room that suddenly felt way too big. I looked at Derek. "I didn't do this to hurt you," I said quietly. "I did this because you hurt me. You and Dad. You treated my life savings like spare change and my identity like a password reset." My mother whispered, "He's your father." "He's also a criminal," I said. "Both can be true at once." I picked up my folder, slung my bag over my shoulder, and drew a line I should have drawn years ago. "I'm leaving now. I won't be in contact. When Dad's case goes to court, I'll cooperate with the prosecution. Beyond that, I'm done." "Renee, wait," Derek said, standing up. "We're family." I met his eyes. "Family doesn't steal from you while you sleep and then throw a party with the loot." And I walked out. If you've ever had to walk out on your own family to save yourself, you know that feeling. Every step away feels like treason and oxygen at the same time. But here's what came next. 3 weeks later, the DA offered my father a plea deal: 18 months of probation, 200 hours of community service, full restitution of the stolen funds, and removal of the fraudulent loan from my record. He took the deal. He pleaded guilty. 1 week after that, $140,312. 67 landed in a brand new account. In my name only. I closed the old joint account forever. When the bank rep hesitated and said, "Are you sure? You've had this since you were 17. I said, "I'm sure. That account was never really mine." The social fallout was slow but brutal. Derek's shiny real estate reputation crumbled. He had to sell the apartment at a loss. His name became a warning in local investor circles. My mother shrank into isolation. Some relatives cut them off entirely. Others quietly reached out to me to apologize for believing my father's lies. Aunt Helen became my chosen family. Sunday dinners. Honest conversations. Stories about the financial abuse she'd survived but never fought. 6 months after everything, I signed the papers on my own house. A charming split level in Littleton. Wraparound porch. Big backyard. Down payment. My recovered savings plus 6 months of fresh contributions. The first night I walked through it, empty and echoing, I ran my fingers along the walls and thought, "This is mine. Finally mine." Aunt Helen showed up that evening with a pot of red roses for my future garden. "Housewarming gift," she said, hugging me. "Welcome home, sweetheart." Now, as I sit on my porch months later, watching the sun set over the backyard I planted myself, I've let go of the anger. Not because they deserve forgiveness, but because I deserve peace. My father is still on probation. My mother has gone silent. Derek sent one last email, which I deleted unread. I used to think love meant endless sacrifice. I thought saying no to family made me selfish. I was wrong. Real love doesn't demand you burn your life down to keep someone else warm. Real family doesn't treat your savings as communal property and your identity as a tool. Boundaries aren't betrayal. They're self-respect. I can't make my parents understand that. I can't fix Derek. I can only choose me. And for the first time in 32 years, my life and my future belong entirely to me. If you're still here, thank you for staying with me through all of that. From a psychological standpoint, what happened to me is called financial enmeshment, when your family treats your resources as theirs by default, and guilt is the glue that holds that system together. Phrases like "family helps family" and "you have a good job" weren't about love. They were pressure tactics, ways to keep me compliant. Here's what I want you to take away. Setting boundaries is not selfish. Protecting yourself is not cruelty. Forgiveness does not require reconciliation. If you saw yourself in my story, if you've been the family ATM, the strong one, the one who always bends, drop a comment and tell me your experience. I read every single one. Hit like if this made you feel seen. Subscribe if you want more real stories where justice actually shows up. And check out the next video I've linked. It's another tale of someone finally choosing themselves. Until next time, protect your peace.